And of course, we will not reread the second chapter of the book of Judges that has been lifted for our listening this morning. But we will, for the sake of homiletical clarity, put our emphasis on the 10th verse, which reads simply, when all that generation had been gathered to their fathers, another generation arose after them who did not know the Lord, nor the work that he had done for Israel. And I just want to take that, or we want to talk from the simple topic of the critical juncture. Now, the Bible in and of itself is, of course, a small library consisting of 66 books written over a period of hundreds of years. This book is the oldest continuously read book in all of humanity. This book is a miracle in and of itself. This is the book upon which we rest our faith. It tells us the story that reveals the very character of the Almighty. Yahweh, Elohim, El Shaddai, Adonai, the Lord our God. Its pages tell us a story of one man's family that became a nation that eventually gave birth to the Savior of all mankind. We have read in the Old Testament of their story of servitude to the Pharaoh and bondage in Egypt. We read of their deliverance in the saga of the Exodus. We read about their travels and trials and tribulations in the wilderness and their conquest of the land of promise. So we meet up with them in this book of Judges, and it seems as if though they are in the place that God has promised, and though they are no longer slaves in the land of Egypt, and no longer are they fighting the battle of Jericho, no longer the battle of Ai, no longer is the sun standing still in the sky as they fight their battles. But here they find themselves in the seemingly familiar circumstance and situation of subjugation. They are at a critical juncture in their saga as a people of God. This intermediate period was instigated and initiated when a new generation arose that knew not the Lord nor what he had done for the people. Something happened along the way that this generation seems to have just lost its way. We need to hear that this morning. Because just like the people in the book of Judges, no longer are we subject to legalized bondage. No longer are we wandering the wilderness of legalized discrimination in the form of Jim Crow. There are no more battles to be fought like Brown versus the Board of Education. Yet, just like the people in the book of Judges, a new generation has arisen that knows not the Lord nor what he has done for us. And we have seemed to find ourselves in a familiar circumstance of subjugation again. I wonder, brothers and sisters, just what happened that the continual chain was broken. Did the men die in Vietnam and come back crazy? Or did they run away from their wives and leave them to rear the boys on their own without proper guidance? And did they raise their daughters to secretly mistrust the men? What happened? Did the young men go off to the penitentiary and come back tough as nails and unable to properly function within the context of civil society? Who knows? All we know is that they forgot their story. They forgot that their story was the Lord. The Lord made a way out of no way. The Lord transformed them from slaves to conquerors. The Lord turned the Red Sea into an expressway. The Lord gave the manna every morning each day. The Lord called the water from the rock. The Lord was their story, but the Lord is also our story. So they found themselves at this critical juncture in their sojourn, in their story. Now, in a business process, if you have it as a flow chart, if you have those certain decision boxes there, certain ones of those decision boxes are what we would call a critical juncture. Whereas, depending on which way you go in the flow chart, the whole process can fail or it can succeed. So they were at the critical juncture, but they made the wrong decision. They trusted in what they saw and not who they knew. They trusted in what they could put their hands on as opposed to what would touch their hearts. These people had forgotten what could happen to them because they focused on what they thought they could do on their own. They found themselves as being less than what God had dreamed for them to be. And they found themselves subjugated and enslaved once again. Over and over and over, this cycle is repeated in the book of Judges. Now, why this is relevant today, brothers and sisters, is because if we were to survey American history and just think about where we are today as a people, we are most similar to right before the end of Reconstruction. And we suffer the possible consequences of once again having the college-educated man being the elevator operator at the Hudson's downtown. See, we have forgot the story. Now, is that the end of the story, though? Is there no hope beyond our mistakes? Is there no chance that God will be graceful and merciful and give us another shot? And I want to say that yes, there is a chance that God's mercy endure forever. We need to give holiness to God because His grace is sufficient. That He has transformed us, that we would be the people of prominence in the place of promise. That we would be able to be His witnesses, that the world around us would know that there is a God with these people. So this is where we pick up in the book of Judges. We find them in a critical juncture. And you will know in your personal life when you're at a critical juncture, when you're no longer where you once were, but your hot dogging ain't where you're going to be. When you're in that state of transition from what you were to what God has dreamed for you to be before He laid the foundations of the earth. And we need to get this today because so many of us are caught up with what we see around us. These young guys, I don't know what's going on or what happened, brothers and sisters, where the young boys stopped raking leaves and shoveling snow, and now they're looking at you at the gas station, ready to rob you. What happened in just one generation? We have gone from singing, it's just my imagination and I'm gonna make you love me, to saying bands make her dance and celebrating being a drug addict. What has happened?